Kevin. And we've seen here from the first game we had tonight with Ken Jennings, he lost the first round and he still won the whole game.
Jennings is a rara avis. I'm not sure Weakest Link Preps want to even be mentioned in the same breath as Ken Jennings. Well, we'll see. Maybe she'll surprise me. Let's watch as Kevin and Michelle face off on the numbers and logic round. Once again, they're now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 2 is the numbers and logic round. Kevin has 3 switches. Michelle has 2 switches left to use. Michelle, you'll be going first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. What is 75% of 280?
Pass.
210. In the decimal 4.85632, what digit is in the 10,000th place?
3.
Correct. Kevin, multiply the number of yards in a mile by the square root of 4.
Pass.
3520. What is 8 squared plus the square root of 144?
76.
Correct. Michelle, which of these amounts is worth more money, 16 nickels or 3/4?
16 nickels.
Correct. Kevin, 200 centimeters is equal to how many millimeters?
2,000.
Correct. Michelle, if Irene has 50 items in her shopping cart, 3 of which are fruit, what percentage of the items in her cart is fruit?
6.
Correct. Kevin, if X's turn to move in this tic-tac-toe game, which square forces an eventual win?
3.
2. Kevin, how is the year 1976 expressed in Roman numerals?
MCMLXXVI.
Correct. Michelle, what is 70% of 400?
Pass.
280. What number is next in this sequence?
0.
5. What time is exactly 3 hours and 46 minutes later than 3:15 p.m.?
7:01.
Correct. Kevin, what is 3/4 of 20?
15.
Correct. Michelle, what weighs more, a kilogram or a pound?
Kilogram.
Correct. Kevin, what is 80 plus 30 minus 17?
93.
Correct. Michelle, in square inches, what is the area of a right triangle with a base of 5 inches and a height of 8 inches?
Pass.
20. What is 7 feet 4 inches in inches?
84.
88. What is 4 times 5 times 6? The answer is 120. Michelle, you're out of time. Kevin, you keep 11.68 seconds to take through to the final round.
Yeah, not that much in it.
Yeah. Well, 2 things there. Kevin's lucky they didn't ask the base of 5-inch question to him because men always see that more as around 6.5 inches. And I knew Mitch was in trouble right off the bat when she didn't know 75% of 280 because that's about as easy as it gets in this round.
I didn't even know that one. Well, I tell you, Kevin's up by about 30 seconds, Dennis. So.
Yeah. That Weakest Link, I'm not saying it's not a great breeding ground. I like the little Hillary Clinton doppelganger lady, but the fact is, I'm not sure it's like this.
Well, it's all about fast thinking. This is all about fast thinking, so is the Weakest Link.
Yeah, this is
Millionaire, you
laser
can't
tag,
just
that's still, you know, that's older technology there. While our players exit the arena for a brief respite. And now, why did I remind you, back to the holding area, it's a good 3/4 of a mile walk here at our massive studios in Midtown Manhattan. Let's see where we are so far in the game. How's it looking so far, Matt?
Well, Kevin is up by 29.66 seconds. Not exactly running away with it here, but Michelle does need to make up her time in the words and letters round, which is next. She could be in trouble.
If I was behind the wheel of a car instead of behind this desk, I would say it looks like a deer in the headlights a little with our good friend Mitch. I hope she can do it, but she looks a little startled by the pace of this. 2 more rounds to go for Kevin and Michelle. We'll be right back.
At least I've won both of the rounds. That's a good thing. I've done other games where there's a clock involved, but this is by far the hardest that I've ever seen. And because it's...
Compared to Weakest Link, I think that this is very similar, rapid fire. There's a clock ticking. You got to pay attention to several things at once. You don't have time to sit and think like you do on Millionaire, and you're not sure where the question is coming from like Jeopardy. For the remainder of the game, I think I would like to use more of my switches. I've used one, and it worked out okay, so I think I want to keep doing that rather than continuing to pass.
You're right. It isn't like Jeopardy or it isn't like Millionaire. The only way you get a lifeline here is you have a faint midway through the round. Welcome back to Grand Slam. That was our 2 competitors, Kevin Olmstead from Millionaire and Michelle Kitt from the Weakest Link, talking at halftime. They're now returning to the arena. How do the competitors seem to you at this point in the match?
Well, I think it's kind of speaking for itself at this stage, Dennis. I think Michelle finally has her confidence back going into this round. And you know, she said herself she needs to use her switches because that might be the thing that's going to save her here.
Our third round in today's game is words and letters. Amanda, anybody a favorite here or pretty much even call?
Well, you see, Dennis, this is the beauty of Grand Slam, is that none of our contestants have played any of these kind of games before, so this one is a toss-up. It's anyone's game.
All right, well, let's go down to the arena now and watch these two titans hassle with each other.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 3 is the words and letters round. Kevin has 3 switches. Michelle has 2 switches. Kevin, you will go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. What letter is halfway between J and T in the English alphabet?
M.
O. What 41-cent item is hidden in this phrase?
Stamp.
Correct. Michelle, switch the places of what 2 letters to form a journal?
A-I.
Correct. Kevin, spell inoculate.
I-N-N-O-C.
I-N-O-C-U-L-A-T-E. What 4-letter word connects count to wind?
Down.
Correct. Michelle, what consonant would you add to get an adjective meaning loud and harsh?
S.
Correct. Kevin, what beverage is hidden in this phrase?
Switch.
Switch.
Espresso.
Correct. Michelle, add vowels to these letters to get a U.S. state capital.
Annapolis.
Correct. Kevin, separate the pro football team from its hometown in this jumble.
Denver Broncos.
Correct. Michelle, what does the G stand for in the controversial substance HGH?
Growth.
Correct. Kevin, spell liaison.
L-I-A-S-I-O.
L-I-A-I-S-O-N. Kevin, what eye is a pelvic bone in humans or the Latin name for the ancient city of Troy?
Ilium.
Correct. Michelle, add letters to this puzzle to get the name of a civil rights leader of the past.
Sojourner Truth.
Correct. Kevin, what legendary character is an anagram of casual ants?
Switch.
Pass.
Santa Claus. Michelle, how many total vowels are in the word conscientious?
Pass.
6. What actor's name is an anagram of hung guard?
Hugh Grant.
Correct. Kevin, what 4-letter word connects buck to glass?
Pass.
Kevin, you're out of time. The correct answer was shot. Michelle, you take 18.15 seconds to the final round.
All right.
See, this is why we love Grand Slam.
I was whipping around a couple observations. Hung Garth should be Hugh Grant's name. Women always know where the G is located. See, am I the only one who gets aroused by the sound of the switch? Interesting round, though. Quick, fun, exciting.
Sound of the switch does it for me too, baby.
You like the
well,
switch,
listen here. Kevin is only about 11 seconds up. So this is the beauty of Grand Slam. I mean, the answering is all great, but it's all in the timing.
All right. Well, only one round remains for our 2 determined players. Who's going to make the quarterfinals and who's going home? When we come back, the conclusion of the opening round game.
Coming up, can Michelle Kitt pull off the unthinkable upset? Or will Kevin Olmstead ride his 11-second advantage into the quarterfinals? Find out when Grand Slam returns.
All right, folks, welcome back to the final round of gameplay in this evening's qualifying round matchup. This is a close one tonight. This is going to mean something. Millionaires Kevin Olmstead and weakest links Michelle Kitt are about to face off one more time to see who moves forward in the 16-player tournament. What does Michelle need to do to come back here? What's the deficit? What does she have to do?
Well, pretty much she has to gain as much momentum as she did in the last round. That's all she's got. She's got 11 seconds behind.
She's still 11 behind?
Which isn't a lot of time. I mean, all that takes is for Kevin to kind of stumble on one question that she could make up.
Well, one thing I noticed in the last round is I think the big man, like when he freaks a little, he goes away. If I was her, however many switches she has, 2 or 3, I would come right out of the box and use them both just to freak him out a little, stun him with that sucker punch, and then while he loses a few times, she makes up the 11. Let's join Kevin and Michelle once again as for the final time tonight. They are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your position. Contestants, this is the final round. Kevin, you kept 29.66 seconds from earlier rounds. You have a total of 1 minute, 29.66 seconds on your clock. Michelle, you kept 18.15 seconds for a total of 1 minute, 18.15 seconds. Both contestants receive an additional switch, which means that Kevin has 2 switches and Michelle has 2 switches. Michelle, you'll go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. An equilateral triangle with a perimeter of 42 inches has sides of what length?
14.
Correct. Kevin, Suri Cruz's mother formerly starred on what WB television show?
Pass.
Dawson's Creek. What Eastern religion is hidden in this phrase?
Shinto.
Correct. Michelle, on the NBC show Law & Order SVU, the V stands for what?
Victim.
Correct. Kevin, what is 1/3 of 864?
288.
Correct. Michelle, what does the Y stand for in the abbreviation FYI?
Your.
Correct. Kevin, what European city is home to the world-famous art museum, the Uffizi Gallery?
Florence.
Correct. Michelle, what math set, not a number, is written as a circle with a slanted line drawn through
No.
it? Correct. Kevin, how many I's are in the word gingivitis?
3.
4. What R is the eldest son of Jacob in the Old Testament?
Pass.
Reuben. In what U.S. city could you visit the John G. Shedd Aquarium?
Chicago.
Correct. Michelle, how is 555 expressed in Roman numerals?
D-L-V-I.
DLV. Michelle, the lead singer of what band co-wrote and sang Carlos Santana's 1999 hit song, Smooth?
Rob Thomas.
Matchbox 20. What country's name is an anagram of anti-anger?
Tangiers.
Argentina. How many prime numbers are there between 4 and 20?
Switch.
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 3.
6. Michelle, producer Oprah Winfrey brought a production based on what film to the Broadway stage in December of
Color
2000?
Purple.
Correct. Kevin, in the English alphabet, what letter comes 10 before R?
Pass.
H. In the Bible, what tree's leaf did Adam use as a loincloth?
Fig.
Correct. Michelle, what is 15 plus 68 minus 57?
Pass.
26. Zeppo and Gummo were the lesser known of what group of
Mark.
20 men? Correct. Kevin, at the end of the Shawshank Redemption, Andy and Red reunite on a beach in what Mexican town?
Tijuana.
Zihuatanejo. If Butch weighs 260 pounds and can lift 40% of his body weight, how many pounds can he lift?
Pass.
104 pounds. What member of the current first family received a bachelor's degree in English from the University of Texas?
Mrs. Bush.
Jenna Bush. Spell salacious.
S-A-L-I-C-I.
S-A-L-A-C-I-O-U-S. Kevin, the land bounded by the Euphrates and Tigris rivers was once known by what Greek name meaning between the rivers?
Mesopotamia.
Correct. Michelle, multiply the number of commandments received by Moses by the number of sides in a triangle.
30.
Correct. Kevin, Joaquin Phoenix played. Kevin, you're out of time. Johnny Cash is the final answer. Michelle, you are tonight's Grand Slam winner.
And that is why we love Grand Slam.
Yeah, perfect game right there. There's only one quibble with the round, and I would have to consult the judges on this. If I'm not mistaken, in Zeppo and Gummo, two of the minor Baldwin brothers. Not the Marx brothers, but the Baldwin brothers. Congratulations, Mitch. That was a hell of a game, baby. Let's see where we are in the tournament.
Well, it seems like we'll be seeing a Michelle in the next round of play in the quarterfinals, playing John Carpenter or Tom McKee.
All right, that's all we've got for you for tonight. Join us next time for more heated competition from all of us here at Grand Slam. Good night, my friends.
Next time on Grand Slam, the man who beat Ken Jennings, #1 seed and Jeopardy champion Brad Rutter,
Genus, capillaries, xenophobia.
Brad Rutter's game is trivia.
takes on the underdog of the tourney, the #16 seed Lingo's Amy Kelly.
I don't know if a miracle will happen.
Wow. I didn't think either of these guys would lose their cool.
And Millionaire's second biggest winner, Ed Tutong,
The Tim Duncan of game shows.
battles the man who won Ben Stein's money, Leszek Pavlovich.
The Leszek is a beast. I don't see this guy flinching.
That's all next time on Grand Slam.
I'm looking forward to the rest of the competition.
Just came down to the last 2 seconds, so great game. Wish her well in the next round.
On an all-new Grand Slam, Lingo longshot Amy Kelly battles Jeopardy champion Brad Rutter, and Ed Tutong takes on Leszek Pavlovich in the smartest show on earth.
It's like playing Bobby Fischer in Reykjavik.
Grand Slam tomorrow, 7/6 Central, only on G.
Welcome to Grand Slam, where television history will be made. For the first time, the greatest game show champions will gather on the same field of battle, and only one will reign supreme. From Jeopardy champions to millionaire winners, pop culture masters to word wizards, 16 of the game show world's elite have been seeded based on how much they've won. to compete in the most challenging game ever played. A winner-take-all tournament to finally prove who is the best of the best. At stake, a $100,000 grand prize, the coveted Grand Slam Crystal Trophy, and the right to be called America's greatest game show player. On the most difficult game on television, who can withstand the pressure? Who will win? Grand Slam. Tonight, Brad Rutter, who reigns supreme at the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions, takes on Amy Kelly, one half of the winningest team in Lingo history. And then, Millionaire's Ed Toutant faces game show legend Leszek Pavlovich in potentially the toughest opening round competition of all. Who will emerge victorious and who will be going home? Find out right now on Grand Slam.
Hey there, sports fans. I'm Dennis Miller, literally above the fray tonight in a private box that, quite frankly, is hotter than the corrugated tin shed they used to break Colonel Bogey and bridge over the River Kwai. I am joined by my beautiful and very witty compatriot. And by the way, I want to thank you for making red the primariest of all the primary colors tonight. This is Amanda Byram. Welcoming you to Grand Slam.
Thank you, and might I say it's an honor to be in a private box with you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mrs. Lincoln. Tonight, four of the biggest game show champions ever will play their opening round matchups in this 16-player tournament, which will determine who will take home the $100,000 and earn the right to be called the greatest contestant in all the land.
First up in a battle of Los Angeles, the guy who's best known for beating Ken Jennings on the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions, that is Brad Rutter. He'll be taking on perhaps the biggest underdog in our competition, Amy Kelly, who was a major winner on GSN's Lingo. Let's get to know them a little bit better, shall we?
Brad Rutter, Los Angeles, California. I was first on Jeopardy in 2000 and then the Ultimate Tournament of Champions. It felt really great to go through a killer lineup of 145 of the greatest Jeopardy players of all time and be the last guy standing.
Now the biggest quiz or game show money winner in television history.
Everybody always asks what I did with the money, so I decided to create my own high school quiz show in Pennsylvania called Inquisitive, with myself as the host and the executive producers.
Welcome to Inquisitive, the quirky quiz show that tests your IQ.
The craziest thing I did was buy a Porsche, but that's not exactly putting me in MC Hammer territory. I think my biggest motivation for going on Grand Slam is just that it's fun. The exposure certainly can't hurt my TV career either.
Amy Kelly, Los Angeles, California. Music is my passion. I eat, breathe, sleep it. Currently, I'm a freelance writer in Los Angeles. Yeah, I just had a few quick questions. I come from a musical family, and my sister is a singer out here in Los Angeles, and she was actually the one who went on Lingo with me, and we won the big jackpot. Guitar Hero has been my competition of choice lately.
Guitar Hero was my best effort to get Amy involved in video games. She now beats me at that as well as trivia.
If I could see the future of what Grand Slam holds for Amy Kelly, it's going to be a tough competition for the other opponent. I think I'm going to be the dark horse of the competition.
Well, folks, there you see Brad and Amy waiting to make their entrance. We've got a 16 seed playing a 1 seed here, man. I'm thinking blowout, am I right?
Oh, well, you would think blowout, but no, it's not. Seeding is actually based on the amount of money that they have earned over televised game shows that they've played. Now, I know that we have Brad Rutter here tonight. He is our #1 seed, and he has won over $3.2 million on his Jeopardy appearances. But we shouldn't rule anyone out, because Grand Slam is a game that none of these contestants have played before, so it's anybody's game tonight.
All right, so now Brad and Amy are entering the arena. And while they prepare for battle, time for the rules. Now listen up. These are important if you're going to dig the game. Grand Slam is played over 4 rounds. You've got general knowledge, numbers and logic, words and letters, and then a final mixed round. Now both contestants begin each round with 1 minute on their clocks. Once a contestant gives a correct answer, his clock stops and his opponent's begins to count down. The player whose clock runs out first loses the round, and his opponent keeps whatever time remains on his own clock to play with in the final decisive round. That's a big chip for them. They have more time, and they can win that final round.
Now, each contestant has 3 switches to use at any time over the 4 rounds. If a player doesn't like a question, he can just switch it over to his opponent. So it looks like our players are ready for round 1. This is it. The time has finally come. They are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 1 is a general knowledge round. Earlier you tossed a coin to see who should go first, and Amy, you lost, so you'll answer the first question. Your clock will start to count down now. What German composed the Goldberg variations?
Pass.
Bach.
Johann Sebastian Bach. Amy, coral, cottonmouth, and mamba are all types of what reptile?
Snake.
Correct. Brad, in humans, what tiny blood vessels connect arteries to veins?
Capillaries.
Correct. Amy, according to NBC, who is scheduled to replace Jay Leno as host of The Tonight Show in 2009?
Conan O'Brien.
Correct. Brad, what celebrity chef owns and operates 4 U.S. restaurants named Spago?
Wolfgang Puck.
Correct. Amy, in 2006, what country's military staged a coup resulting in the overthrow of Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra?
Pass.
Thailand. What baseball player is mentioned in the lyrics
Switch.
of the Simon & Garfunkel song Mrs. Robinson?
Joe DiMaggio.
Correct. Amy, on the Fox TV series 24, Jack Bauer works out of the Los Angeles office of what fictitious government agency?
FBI.
CTU. Amy, what NBA basketball star shares his name with a region in Japan famous for its beef?
Kobe O'Brien. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. Amy, what American company uses the ticker symbol F on the New York Stock Exchange?
Pass.
Ford Motor Company. Amy, Fred Noonan was the navigator for whose ill-fated
Switch.
attempt to fly around the world?
Switch.
Amelia Earhart.
Correct. Amy, in the original Pac-Man video game. Amy, you're out of time. The correct answer is Clyde. You lose round 1. Brad, you keep 46.36 seconds to take through to the final round.
Well, you know what, Amanda? What I take away from that round is the FBI has been so ineffectual over the last few years. They're now thought to be a fictional agency.
I got to tell you, though, I mean, that was very tough for Amy. I mean, it was no surprise. Everybody knew that she wasn't going to be the trivia queen.
Let's lay out some stats for us, Amanda.
Well, Brad was a perfect 4 for 4 in that round. He didn't miss a single question. Amy struggled a bit. She used up 2 switches and only got 2 of 7 questions correct. So Brad takes a 46.36-second advantage to the final round here. Brad Rutter's game is trivia.
Listen, when Ken Jennings is Salieri to your Amadeus, you know you were an imposing cat, and Rutter really stared her down there.
Exactly. And then the other thing as well is, of course, we have many other rounds to come. We've got words and letters, which Amy is going to be
Maybe he'll gag on the numbers. Who knows what his strength is. That'll be the next round when we return in 2 and 2. Wolverine.
Can underdog Amy Kelly use her lingo skills to spell upset in the words and letters round? Or will Jeopardy champ Brad Rutter add to his commanding lead in numbers and logic? Find out next on Grand Slam.
Hey, folks, welcome back to Grand Slam. Tonight's competition well underway with Jeopardy's Brad Rutter looming over Lingo's Amy Kelly for a spot in our quarterfinals. Now it's time for the numbers and logic round.
It's a crucial round here for Amy because she's 46.36 seconds behind our Bradley Rutter. And Brad has said that this is going to be his weakness. Equations in algebra and other math problems, all under pressure. And the thing is, it's all in their heads. Now, across the board, people have said that this is probably the toughest round for the contenders.
Let's see if the numbers add up for Brad and Amy. Once again, they're now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 2 is the numbers and logic round. Brad has 3 switches left. Amy has 1 switch left to use. Brad, you'll be going first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. A man who stands 5 feet 10 inches tall is how many inches in height?
70.
Correct. Amy, divide the number of vowels in Mississippi River by the number of daughters of Mike and Carol in the Brady Bunch.
2.
Correct. Brad, what does X equal in this equation?
Pass.
10. What is 7 cubed?
336.
343. What is the next number in this Fibonacci sequence?
13.
Correct. Amy, what is 3/4 of 72?
Pass.
54. What is 33.3 minus 14.8 plus 9.9?
Switch.
Switch back.
Pass.
28.4. Amy, if some thwarps are gumbos and all gumbos are Rockefellers, are any thwarps necessarily Rockefellers?
Yes.
Correct. Brad, you buy six packs of beer at $11.47 each. How much change will you get from $100?
Switch.
Pass.
31.18. Amy, what is the missing number in this box?
5.
Correct. Brad, what is 10% of 10 squared?
10.
Correct. Amy, what is 78 divided by 6?
13.
Correct. Brad, the interior angles of a regular pentagon add up to how many degrees?
270.
540. Divide the number of keys on a standard piano by the number of seasons in a series of violin concertos by Vivaldi.
22.
Correct. Amy, what is the cube root of 125?
5.
The answer is 5. Amy, you're out of time. Brad, you keep 4.43 seconds to take through to the final round.
Well, two observations there, Amanda. The Mississippi Brady Bunch question literally threw me into a clinical depression. And secondly, I can tell you it was not a prereq for getting these hosting duties to know what a Fibonacci sequence was, or this chair would be empty.
Well, after 2 rounds, Dennis, Brad is ahead by 50.79 seconds. But Amy did pretty well in that round. They both answered 4 out of 7 questions correctly. Now, Brad could have fallen behind, but managed to stay 4.43 seconds ahead, only because he used his switches very strategically.
Let's go backstage and see what our players each have to say at halftime.
The hardest part is definitely the math. I mean, I knew it was going to be hard. I knew I suck at mental math, but I didn't quite know it was going to be that hard, so I'm a little scared. It's tough when you're staring at the other person's face like that and the clock is running behind you. It's pretty intense. I was a little concerned about the switches going in, but I think I used them to my advantage in that last round. I think Amy was actually a little bit better than me on the math, but the fact that I had a couple more switches kind of got me 4 more seconds, so.
I think the hardest part is just knowing who your competitor is at this point. That itself is intimidating, and that can play mind games with you. So I'd like to at least gain some of my seconds back in the word section. I don't know if a miracle will happen at this point, but I'm going to have fun and then just see how well I can do.
Well, that's how they're feeling at halftime. I've got a couple observations. Rutter used the switch more adroitly than anybody since Captain Fly in foreplay, and Amy is being dominated like an adagio dancer. But anyway, what did you get from that?
Dennis, this should be a no-brainer for Amy because she won on Lingo, which is a true word game, and she's a huge words and letters fan. So
Yeah.
she should walk this one.
Well, our contestants are now returning to the arena for our third round. Words and letters. Amanda, tell us about that.
Oh, this round is all about anagrams, spelling, word scrambles, all sorts of puzzles with a little bit of word trivia thrown in there too, Dennis.
Let's find out if Amy can make up some time as they are now in the control of the questioner.
Contestants, take your positions. Round 3 is the words and letters round. Brad has 1 switch. Amy has no switches left to use. Amy, you'll go first in this round. Your clock will begin to count down now. What communist leader's name is an anagram for Florida sect?
Pass.
Fidel Castro. What is the third to last letter in the Greek alphabet?